Alright, if there's one thing that separates me from Mr. Johns, aside from number of subscribers, it's that I have never played a Mortal Kombat game in my life. I've never even touched any of the games, nor have I seen any of the movies. Not that I have anything against it, I'm sure it seems like a fun fighting game franchise. That's why it has such a huge fan base, I'm sure. I've just never played them. Yeah, I don't know why I have this. This is a soundtrack to the 2011 game. I think I've listened to it like once. I do love that theme song though. Mortal Kombat! So Mortal Kombat, we have a new live-action Mortal Kombat movie based off the beloved video game franchise. I have been thinking about getting into those games, but I think I have to start with this one in particular, and to me it's unobtainable, because it's not on Steam and I don't have a console for it. So yeah, it should be apparent that I don't know much about the world of Mortal Kombat. What I do know about it comes from Mr. Johns' videos. But the story of Mortal Kombat, the way this movie tells it, is that there's another world called Outworld that wants to invade us on the Earth realm. So they have all these superpower beings that they send to us, but we have fighters with a dragon marking. They were chosen to fight these beings in Mortal Kombat. Our main character in this movie is Cole Young, who I understand is an original character for this movie. He's not in any of the games. We follow him as he's introduced to this world, and so here we go with our new Mortal Kombat movie. And I'll say this movie was interesting, because I understand that there are a lot of characters in Mortal Kombat, and if you're a fan, not all of your favorites are probably gonna show up in this movie. But some of the characters here I thought were pretty cool. You have Sonya Blade and Jax Briggs. Those characters were alright. They're the ones who introduced Cole to the world of Mortal Kombat. Then you have Kano, who I thought was awesome. Kano is pretty much the sarcastic shit talker. He was the funny one in the movie, you know? He had all the one-liners. Some of them were pretty funny. Others did not land with me, I'll be honest. But he was probably my favorite character in the movie. And Cole Young himself. I like this character enough. I mean, he's the most fleshed out, because that's what you get when your movie is less than 2 hours long. It's 1 hour and 50 minutes. That's it. When you have a whole world full of characters that people love, not all of the ones who are fan favorites are gonna be fleshed out. And also, not all of the acting is great either. I hate to say it. Like Liu Kang, you get some of his backstory, but I didn't think his acting was all that great. Same thing with Kung Lao. Those two kind of have some history together, and it's touched on a little bit, but I feel like there's so much more in the games. I'll get to that. And Raiden. I heard Raiden is like this awesome, badass, fan favorite character who's a big deal in the games. In the end, I felt Raiden was completely underwhelming in this movie for me. His acting was not that good, and I'll admit he was a little hard to understand at times because his accent was so thick, and he really just didn't seem like that interesting of a character. Same thing with the bad guys. I mean, Sub-Zero is the bad guy who gets the most fleshed out story, and he was cool actually. Again, I understand that Sub-Zero is a big deal in the games, so Sub-Zero gets a lot of shine in this movie. And his powers are really cool looking. He's pretty much evil Elsa from hell. He has ice powers. But there's this one chick, Melina. I thought she was awesome, because her mouth can open like really wide. She's like a savage beast, and her action scenes were certainly really cool, but she's not that fleshed out. I imagine her character and backstory is much more fleshed out in the games, and if for nothing else, this movie made me interested to look into that. So yeah, the spectrum of cool characters versus characters that you don't care so much about, it is pretty vast. But again, that's what you get when you have a movie based off a video game, and you only have this long to tell a story, whereas a video game has this long to tell a story. You see what I'm getting at here? I mean, I found the world and the characters in this movie interesting enough. I really did. And the characters that got more spotlight, I really liked them. Like Jax and Sonya and Kano. But some other characters like Melina or Liu Kang, in some cases I was like, they seem really interesting too. But this movie didn't flesh them out a whole lot, and it's just a bummer. Video games can have very long stories, like 10, 11, 12 hours long if you play it all the way through at once, which would be insanity. You know, video game stories take days or weeks to beat. So if you take a story that lasts that long to play, and you cram it all into a movie that's less than 2 hours long, some fan favorite characters who you love are just gonna get left in the background. They're not gonna feel fleshed out. They're gonna feel like extras almost. And even I, who has never played a Mortal Kombat game in his life, could tell that these characters have more backstory than this movie is letting on. I mean, I'm pretty sure this movie could have been at least twice as long as it is, or it could have been 2.5 hours long. I mean, I understand that there could be sequels to this movie, because there are plenty of Mortal Kombat games out there, but just for this movie itself, it felt like it didn't do enough. It actually did feel rushed a couple times. Like you have a dialogue scene, and usually when a dialogue scene ends, there'll be a beat before it cuts to the next scene. You know, so the audience has room to breathe. In this movie, sometimes the dialogue will end, and then it'll cut right to the next scene without giving you that beat. And that makes it feel kind of rushed. In my videos, that's okay, because this isn't a movie. I will say the fights in this movie are cool though. I mean, of course they are. That was like the big selling point of this movie. It's very violent. You have like the fatalities from the games. I assume. Like that one where Scorpion grabs Sub-Zero, he's like, "Get over here!" You saw in the trailer. That's from the games. And of course, there's fan service, there's nods to the games. I mean, someone wins a fight, and he says out loud, he's like, flawless victory. I was like, okay, that was kind of corny. But it's a nod to the game, so it does get a pass there. I'm sure there were references in this movie that I didn't understand because I've never played a Mortal Kombat game. But again, if for nothing else, this movie made me interested in looking into those games. I wouldn't mind playing a cool fighting game with awesome lore and characters. It sounds fun. But again, I'm pretty sure I would have to start from here, and I just need a way to play it. But getting back to the fights, they were pretty cool. Although some were kind of subpar. The visual effects in this movie, I will say, did not look that great at times. Like, you have the character Goro in this movie. The CG in Goro did not look that great, if you ask me. And sometimes when someone got stabbed or impaled and you saw blood squirting out, the blood looked kind of fake. It looked like video game blood. Like CG video game blood, it looked bad. Looks cool in a video game, but not here in a movie. As for the score in this movie, it was alright. It was done by Benjamin Wallfish, who we all know is a pretty good composer. He did the It movies, he also did Shazam and the new Hellboy. And his score in this movie did incorporate that classic Mortal Kombat theme a couple times, and that was pretty cool. Other than that though, the rest of the score is pretty forgettable. So in the end, this new Mortal Kombat movie, it was okay. I didn't hate it at all. I did find the world and characters really interesting, but some of the characters who I found the most interesting were just not fleshed out at all. And that's just a huge bummer. Again, it made me interested to look into the video games. If for nothing else, I could watch the cutscenes on YouTube or something, but I want to play the fights too. This movie definitely should have been longer, so more cool seeming characters could be fleshed out. The action was pretty cool, and the music was alright. For Mortal Kombat, I will say, if you're gonna go see this in a theater, that is, wait until this movie's at a discount theater, then go see it. Now, if someone could tell me how I could get Mortal Kombat 9 with just a Mac, PC, and a Switch, that'd be great. So, Mortal Kombat, the new movie. Have you seen it yet? What do you think about it? And if you've played the games, which one's your favorite? And also, who's your favorite character? I'm curious. Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.